So understand something. We get it over in the House. Mike Johnson and John Thune aren't working for the American people. They work for Donald Trump. And so many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, they function like a wholly owned subsidiary of the Trump cartel.
Trump cartel. That is what the House Minority Leader just called the Republican Party on camera. Here is what he did not say out loud. In 2015, Hakeem Jeffries stood at a microphone and called failing to fund DHS legislative malpractice. He warned, his words, that not passing a full DHS bill threatened American safety. That was 2015. This is now. And the man who warned about DHS funding malpractice just helped lead the longest DHS shutdown in American history. 76 days, TSA agents without paychecks, airport lines at record lengths. If you want this tracked every day, hit subscribe, because now watch how this press conference actually started.
Well, good morning, everyone. We had a very productive discussion, House and Senate Democrats standing together firmly on behalf of the American people. Taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for everyday Americans, not to brutalize or kill them. ICE is completely and totally out of control. Immigration enforcement should be just, it should be fair, and it should be humane. That is not what is taking place right now. Dramatic changes are necessary at the Department of Homeland Security with respect to its enforcement activities so that ICE and other agencies are conducting themselves like every other law enforcement agency in the country. Not in so many instances in a rogue or lawless manner. There are several demands that we will articulate on behalf of the American people, which of course include but are not limited to mandatory body cameras, judicial warrants, which in our view should be required before everyday Americans are ripped out of their homes or snatched out of cars violently. The Fourth Amendment is not an inconvenience. It is a requirement embedded in our Constitution that everyone should follow. Certainly, I think there's agreement that no masks should be deployed in an arbitrary and capricious fashion, as has been the case, horrifying the American people. And of course, I think the American people believe that ICE shouldn't be able to detain and deport American citizens, which we know is taking place right now. These are just some of the common sense proposals that the American people clearly would like to see in terms of the dramatic changes that are needed at the Department of Homeland Security before there's a full year appropriations bill. It's now my honor to yield to a former distinguished member of the House of Representatives. All good things flow from the House, in our humble opinion, as I was as well.
I know.
And we're both from Brooklyn. But he's doing a tremendous job as the leader of the Senate Democrats, the Honorable Chuck Schumer.
Well, thank you, Hakeem, and let me thank you and my Senate colleagues, our House colleagues, and we had a really good and productive meeting, and we're on the same page. First, what is happening in our cities is just turns your stomach inside out. It's not just us. When Americans see the pictures of these goons beating people, pushing people, and even shooting and killing people, they say, this is not America. And what the hell is going on in our cities? It is reminiscent of dictatorship. And when some of these ICE thugs just keep beating and beating and beating a woman who's pushed to the floor, that's un-American. And the American people are on our side. 90% have seen the videos, according to a most recent survey. And they are appalled. And they are urging the Senate and the House, the Congress, and the White House to stop this. And so, Democrats, we have common sense, tough objectives to rein in ICE. And the Republicans need to get serious. 3 broad categories we all agree on. 1, none of these roving patrols. You can't just stop anybody on the street. You can't just pick them up and not even tell them why they're picked up, put them in some dark place, no access to a lawyer or a phone or anything else. You can't, there are certain places they shouldn't be able to go in, churches, synagogues, schools, election places. There should be no racial profiling as these bands of goons roam the streets. That's 1. 2, we need real accountability. There's got to be oversight. There's got to be outside independent oversight by state and local governments, by individuals, and there's got to be a right to sue. There's got to be a right to go to court and stop this. And finally, no secret police. I find it amazing that the Speaker of the House, which are saying they should be allowed to have masks. This group, which needs to be identified more than any other group, should have a standard much more lenient and hidden than other police forces. I would bet when Speaker Johnson goes down to Louisiana, the sheriffs and the police deputies are well identified, as they are in almost every city. So we need cameras, and the cameras have got to be used in the right way. We can't just give them cameras, and you have to be specific as to how they ought to be used. They need identification and no masks except in extraordinary and unusual circumstances. We're united with the American people. We're united as House and Senate Democrats. We're going to have tough, strong legislation. We hope to have it within the next 24 hours that we will submit together. And then we want our Republican colleagues to finally get serious about this, because this is turning America inside out in a way we haven't seen in a very long time. Catherine.
Thank you,
Whip Clark, it says.
That's right. Thank you so much. I'm so proud to stand here with my colleagues, united as Democrats, united with the American people. That this violence we are seeing from ICE and CPB agents has to stop. Republicans promised 2 fundamental things. They promised an economy that would work for working people. We've seen how that's turned out. And they promised they would deport and use ICE to go after the worst of the worst. And what are we seeing? Renee Good and Alex Preddy killed in cold blood, executed. Kristi Noem, within hours of their deaths, declared them domestic terrorists. Stephen Miller called Preddy an assassin. But the American people have seen their deaths. They've seen the videos, and they know that this is a cover-up. We've seen an ICE agent tackle an American citizen, a 10th grader, ended up stealing his phone and pawning it for cash. We've seen them use little Liam Ramos, a 5-year-old, one to try and bait people to come out of their houses, and then they send him to detention in Texas. We've seen them tear gas children and peaceful protesters, including a 6-month-old baby. So it is time, and we are united with the American people, that DHS and this paramilitary force that they have created and unleashed on our American streets will be held accountable. Americans deserve to be safe and secure in their communities. Children deserve to be safe in their communities and their schools. And families need to know that mass police cannot break down a door just because they want to. There are protections of our laws, of due process, and our Constitution that we are going to stand up for and say no to this violence. This is what this fight is about, and I am proud to stand with Democrats to make sure that we give voice to the fears of Americans for where this country is heading and where this violence is taking us. And
Here is what this press conference actually produced. Democrats held their line for 76 days, the longest DHS shutdown in American history. TSA agents worked without paychecks. Airport security lines hit record highs. Emergency funding nearly ran dry. When the deal finally came, Democrats got body cameras and a modest ICE budget trim. They did not get the warrant requirements. They did not get the mask ban. The red lines they announced in this press conference, the ones Schumer called non-negotiable, did not hold. And ICE? ICE got separately funded through reconciliation, $70 billion. Untouchable by a Democratic filibuster. Schumer called ICE agents goons and thugs on camera. The Department of Homeland Security officially called his remarks disgusting. 7 House Democrats broke with Jeffries and voted for the bill anyway. The Trump cartel line made headlines. The reforms did not make it into law. That is the gap between the press conference and the record. Jeffries called Republican DHS obstruction legislative malpractice in 2015. His own party just ran a 76-day shutdown and came out with less than they promised the American people they would deliver. The pressure was real. The videos were real. The killings of Renee Good and Alex Pretty were real. The anger at this press conference was real. But when the vote came, the red lines moved. And the people watching those ICE videos are still waiting for the accountability Democrats promised them here. That clip is not going to age well. Not for the people who needed results, and not for the leaders who promised them.